Welcome to Memorial Stadium in Baltimore for Game 2 of the American League Championship Series. Baltimore won the opening game of the series yesterday 5-2. Wilbur Wood, who had finished the regular season with a 14-game winning streak, was a losing pitcher yesterday. Baltimore seems like the only team this season that he has not had good luck with. Starting for the White Sox today will be Tom Bradley. And for the Orioles will be Pat Dobson. Starting lineup for the visiting Chicago White Sox. Leading off the first baseman, Carlos May. Batting second, the right fielder, Pat Kelly. Batting third, the second baseman, Rich McKinney. Batting fourth, the third baseman, Bill Melton. Batting fifth, the left fielder, Rick Reichart. Batting sixth, the center fielder, Jay Johnstone. Batting seventh, the catcher, Ed Herman. And batting eighth, the shortstop, Luis Alvarado. Batting ninth, the pitcher, Tom Bradley. On defense for the Orioles, at first base, Boog Powell returns to the Orioles lineup. Dave Johnson's at second. Mark Belanger's at shortstop. Brooks Robinson's at third. Don Buford's in left. Paul Blair in center. Frank Robinson's in right. Elrod Hendricks catching. And on the mound, Pat Dobson. Pat Dobson came over from the San Diego Padres during the offseason. He went 23-10 for the Orioles with an ERA of 2.57. And he had a whip of 9.67. And the opposing batters hit 211 against him. He averaged less than 2 walks a game and averaged about 6 strikeouts a game. And he averaged almost 7 hits a game against him with less than 1 home run a game hit against him. Leading off for the White Sox will be Carlos May. May went 1 for 4 yesterday. Talking with Earl Weaver, the rainout on Saturday kind of messed with his plans. He had wanted to go with a 3-man rotation through the series of Cuellar, Dobson, and Palmer. But with the off day eliminated, he'll have to go to a 4-game rotation or 4-man rotation. And if this series reaches Game 4, it would be Dave McNally going for Baltimore. While it's thought that this wouldn't affect the White Sox so much, at least as far as Game 4 is concerned, that Wilbur Wood would probably be able to bounce back and pitch Game 4. And if a Game 5 is necessary, that would probably end up being choosing between Bradley and Bart Johnson. So here's Carlos May with the first pitch of the game. It's 62 degrees here in Baltimore with no winds. And it's a clear, sunny day. The 0-2 pitch, strike 3 called, 1 out. Here is Pat Kelly making his first at bat of the series. Kelly hit 270 this year, 1 home run and 15 runs batted in. He stole 10 bases. His brother Leroy Kelly will be playing with the Browns later tonight during the Monday Night Football game between Cleveland and Houston, or Cleveland and Oakland, where they'll be playing at Cleveland Stadium. The 1-1 pitch. Grounder to third. Brooks Robinson's up with it. Throw to first. Throw was in the dirt, but Powell was able to fish it out. 2 outs. Boog Powell, for a big man, he maneuvers around first base quite well. Here is the second baseman, Rich McKinney. He was 0 for 4 yesterday. Let me look up how many hits the White Sox had 6 hits during game 1. The 1-0 pitch. Popped it up on the infield. Belanger takes charge, and he's got it. 3 up and 3 down. Nothing across for Baltimore in the first. We go to the bottom of the first. It is Chicago nothing, Baltimore coming to bat. Leading off is Don Buford, the left fielder. Batting second will be the right fielder, Frank Robinson. Batting third, the second baseman, Dave Johnson. Batting fourth, the first baseman, Boog Powell. Batting fifth, the third baseman, Brooks Robinson. Batting sixth, the shortstop, Mark Belanger. Batting seventh, the catcher, Elrod Hendricks. Batting eighth, the center fielder, Paul Blair. And batting ninth, the pitcher, Pat Dobson. On defense, the White Sox will have Carlos May at first base, Rich McKinney at second, Louis Alvarado at short, Bill Melton at third. That was the same infield they had yesterday. In left field is Rick Reichert. In center field, Jay Johnstone. In right field, Pat Kelly. Catching is Ed Herman, and on the mound is Tom Bradley. Tom Bradley went 21-5 during the regular season with an ERA of 1.87. Led the major leagues with a whip of .818. And he finished the season with a 13-game winning streak. Leading off for the Orioles is Don Buford, making his first appearance in the series. Don Buford, he was the American League MVP last season. In the regular season, Buford hit .292 with 24 home runs, 74 runs batted in. He hit .235 with 3 home runs and 5 runs batted in against Chicago. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Grounder into right field for a base hit. Here's Frank Robinson. He was 1 for 3 yesterday. It's a fly ball down the left field line, but that is hooking foul. High and outside, ball one. Swing and a miss, strike two. Ball two. Robinson hits a base hit in center field. Buford will stop at second. So the Orioles have runners on first and second, nobody out, and here's Dave Johnson. He was 1 for 4 with a run batted in yesterday. Swing and a miss, strike one. Hits a grounder to short. And Alvarado boots it. That looked like that might have been a double play ball. But instead, the Orioles have the bases loaded, nobody out. And here's Boog Powell making his first at bat in the series. He missed yesterday's game. He injured his toe in the last game of the regular season. In the regular season, he was bothered by a bad right wrist. He had 264 with 25 home runs and 101 runs batted in. He had 150 with 2 home runs and 5 runs batted in against Chicago. Ball one, that nearly got away from Herman. High and outside, ball two. Just below the belt, strike one. Ball three. Powell hits a base hit in the right field. Buford scores. Robinson holds at third. Bases remain loaded, and the Orioles jump out to an early 1-0 lead. Here's Brooks Robinson. He was 1 for 2 yesterday with a run and a run batted in. Just off the ground, ball one. Tom Bradley is struggling with his control right now. Fouls it back, strike one. Caught the outside corner, strike two. Hits bouncer to short, could be two. To second for one, to first, double play. Frank Robinson scores. 6-4-3 double play. And the Orioles take a 2-0 lead. Here's Mark Belanger. He went 1 for 4 yesterday. Curveball, swing and a miss, strike one. It's shallow fly ball to right field. Pat Kelly coming in, Rich McKinney going out. Kelly has it. But the Orioles get 2 runs, 3 hits, 1 error. They left 1 man on base. We played 1 in Baltimore. It is Baltimore 2, Chicago nothing. Baltimore scored 2 unearned runs in the first inning. For Chicago in the second, it will be Bill Melton, Rick Reichard, and Jay Johnstone. Bill Melton went 2 for 4 yesterday. He had a home run. He had 1 run batted in. The 0-1 pitch. It's fly ball in right field. Frank Robinson going back. He's near the wall, and he's got it. 1 out. Here's Rick Reichard. He was 2 for 3 yesterday. He had a home run. The 1-1 pitch. Liner into left field. That's a base hit. So Chicago has runner on first, 1 out. Here's Jay Johnstone. He was 1 for 4 yesterday. Johnstone hits a base hit in the left field. Reichard holds at second, so the White Sox have runners on first and second, 1 out. And here is Ed Herman making his first at bat in the series. Ed Herman hit .219 in the regular season. He had 20 home runs and 66 runs batted in. He hit .250 against Baltimore. He had 4 home runs and 10 runs batted in against them. Luis Alvarado's on deck. That caught the outside corner. Strike one. Pops it up. Infield fly rule called. And Johnson takes it. That's 2 outs. Here is Luis Alvarado. He was 0 for 3 yesterday. High and inside, ball 1. High and outside, ball 2. Dobson hits a slow roller up the middle. Belanger to his left has it, throws him out. 3 outs, no runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the second. It is Baltimore 2, Chicago nothing. Teams will leave almost immediately after today's game to fly out to Chicago, where Game 3 will be played at Comiskey Park. For the Orioles in the 7th, it's the bottom of the order. Elrod Hendricks, Paul Blair, and Pat Dobson. Elrod Hendricks, he's making his first appearance of the series. He had .213 in the regular season, 15 home runs, 54 runs batted in. He hit .182 with an RBI against Chicago. The 3-2 pitch. Ball 4 outside. First walk given up by Bradley. Here is Paul Blair. He was 3 for 5 yesterday with a run batted in. In the dirt, it got past Herman, but Hendricks will stay put at first. Looked like that was going to be a pass ball, but Hendricks doesn't have much speed on the base paths. He looks at strike 1. Outside, ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Blair hits base hit in the left field. He continues his hot hitting against the White Sox in this series. Here's the pitcher, Pat Dobson. They're playing him the bunt. He is an excellent bunter. He squares. Bunts it on the ground, but it's foul. Strike 1. Squares again. It's in front of the plate. Herman picks it up. He throws to McKinney, covering first. So that's 1 out. Hendricks moves to third. Blair moves to second. Deep runners advance on the sacrifice. And here's Paul Blair, who's 1 for 1. He led off the Baltimore Orioles with a single in the first. That was at the knee. Strike 1. Ball 1. Against the Orioles this year, Tom Bradley was 3-0 with an ERA of 1.59. Ball 2. Ball 3, full count. Ball 4, that loads the bases. Here's Frank Robinson. He's 1 for 1. He's singled in the first. Bases loaded, 1 out. Hits a hard grounder to second. This could be 2. To Alvarado for 1. To May. Double play. 4-6-3 double play. And Bradley gets out of the jam. No runs, 1 hit, 2 walks, and 1 left. We go to the 3rd inning. Baltimore leads 2-0 in Game 2 of the American League Championship Series. Tom Bradley leads off for the White Sox. The 1-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. That's strikeout number 2 for Pat Dobson. Here is Carlos May. He's 0 for 1 today. He struck out. The 1-2 pitch. Grounder up the middle. Belanger dives to his left. Throws him out. 1 out. Or 2 outs. Here is Pat Kelly, who's 0 for 1. He grounded to Brooks Robinson in the first inning. The 1-0 pitch. Base hit into left field. Buford was slow getting on that. Kelly rounds first. He'll slide into second. Safe. Safe with a double. So 2 outs. Runner on second. Here's Rich McKinney, who's 0 for 1. He popped out the Belanger last time up. He's looking for his first hit of the series. Rich McKinney, he, I believe, was a starting second baseman in the All-Star game this year. Ball 2. Ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. Caught the inside corner. Strike 1. It's a fly ball down the left field line. Buford's after it. But it's out of play. Count remains full. Full count. 2 outs. Runner on second. McKinney, it's a base hit into left field. Kelly rounds third. He'll score. It's 2-1. And here's Bill Melton. He's 0 for 1 today. He flied out to Frank Robinson. That put Robinson up against the wall. Breaking ball outside. Ball 1. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Popped it up to third in foul ground. Brooks Robinson is after it, and he's got it. 3 outs, but the White Sox get 1 run, 2 hits, no errors. They left 1 man on base. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. It's Baltimore 2, Chicago 1. Dave Johnson leads off for Baltimore in the 3rd. He's 0 for 1 today. He was safe on an error in the first inning. The 0-1 pitch. Grounder to 3rd. Melton is up with it. Throws him out. That's 1 out. Here's Boog Powell. He singled to first. Or he singled in the first. I'm sorry. And that scored Don Buford with the first run of the game. The 0-2 pitch. Base hit in the right field. Powell's at first with his second hit of the game. Here's Brooks Robinson, who's 0 for 1. He grounded into a double play in the first. And that scored Frank Robinson. That made it 2-0 Baltimore. That's low. Ball one. Here's the pitch. Powell breaking for second. No throw from Ed Herman. That's stolen base number one for Boog Powell. Powell had one stolen base during the regular season. The 1-1 pitch. Check the swing. They appeal. Nope. Ball two. It's a grounder to first. May has it. Tosses to Bradley covering. 2 outs as Boog Powell moves to third. Here's Mark Belanger. He's 0 for 1. He had a shallow fly out to Pat Kelly in the first inning. Ball one. Strike one. Another one caught the inside corner. Strike two. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's a grounder to second. McKinney has it. Throws him out. So the Orioles get no runs. 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. We've played 3 here in Baltimore. Game 2. The Orioles lead the White Sox 2-1. In the 4th inning for Chicago, it will be Rick Reichard, Jay Johnstone, and Ed Herman. Reichard is 1 for 1. He singled in the second. He is 3 for 4 so far in this series. He has a home run and an RBI, and with it the RBI. Ball 4. Here's Jay Johnstone. He's 1 for 1. He singled in the second inning. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Lays down a bunt. Hendricks up with it. Throws to Johnson covering. 1 out. Rick Reichard takes second. Here is Ed Herman, who's 0 for 1 today. He popped to Dave Johnson in the second inning. Swing and a miss. Boy, he lunged at that one. Strike 1. At the shoulders, inside, ball 1. Ball 2. Reichard going for third. The throw from Hendricks. He's out. Reichard never had a chance. So it's 2 outs. Nobody on base. Foul tip. Strike 2. Full count. 2 outs. Popped it up. Third base side. Brooks Robinson's after it. But that makes the seats. Herman hits a liner into center field, but that's right at Blair. 3 outs, no runs, no hits, no errors, no one left. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Here at Memorial Stadium, it is the Orioles 2, the White Sox 1. It'll be the bottom of the order for the Orioles. Hendricks, Blair, and Dobson. Elrod Hendricks leads off. He walked in the second inning. The 1-1 pitch. Grounder to second. McKinney's up with it. Throw to first. 1 out. Here's Paul Blair. He's 1 for 1. He singled in the second. He is 4 for 6 in this series. The 1-1 pitch. Grounder to third. Melton has it. Throw to first. 2 outs. Milton was playing him in for the bunt and was able to come up with that grounder. 2 outs. Here is Pat Dobson. He had a sacrifice bunt in the second inning. The 2-1 pitch. Grounder to third. Melton charges it, but he'll hold it. That's a base hit for Dobson. Here's Don Buford. He's 1 for 1. He singled in the first and he walked in the second. Curveball. Strike 1 called. It's a fly ball in the center field or right field. Kelly just watches it. That one goes. Home run for Don Buford. And the Orioles take a 4-1 lead. There was no doubt about that one. Here is Frank Robinson. He's 1 for 2. He singled in the first, and he grounded into a double play in the second. The 1-0 pitch. Fly ball in the left field. Riker drifting over to his left has it. 3 outs, but the Orioles get 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, no one left. We played 4 innings here in Baltimore. The Orioles lead Game 2, 4-1. The Orioles have 4 runs, 7 hits, no errors. They've left 4 men on base. The White Sox have 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error. They've left 3 men on base. Orioles scored 2 in the first. Buford led off the game with a single. Then Robinson singled. Then what looked like a double play ball was an error on Alvarado that loaded the bases. Powell singled. That scored Don Buford. And Robinson grounded into a double play, and Brooks Robinson grounded into a double play, and Frank Robinson was able to score on that. In the third inning, with 2 outs, Pat Kelly doubled, and then he scored on McKinney's single. That cut the lead to 2-1. And then in the bottom of the fourth, with 2 outs, Dobson singled on the infield. Hit a little nubber that Melton charged. Picked it up cleanly, but he just held on to the ball. He wouldn't have made the out. And then Don Buford hit a 2-run home run. That's where we're at right now. In the 5th inning for Chicago, it will be Alvarado, Bradley, and May. Luis Alvarado, he's 0 for 1. He grounded to the shortstop in the second inning. The 1-1 pitch. Alvarado hits base hit in right field. This will be the second time that in the game that the leadoff hitter reached base for Chicago. Here's Tom Bradley. He is 0 for 1. He struck out in the third. They're playing him for the bunt. He lays down a bunt. Hendricks is on it. Throws to Johnson, covering it first. 1 out. Alvarado takes second on the sacrifice. Here's Carlos May. He's 0 for 2 today. He struck out in the first, and he grounded to Mark Belanger in the third. It's a fly ball into center field. Blair going back to his right. Has it. Alvarado tags, and he'll take third. So there's 2 outs. Runner on third, and here's Pat Kelly, who's 1 for 2. He grounded to Brooks Robinson in the first, and he doubled in the third. And he has scored the White Sox only run of the game so far. Swing and a miss, strike 1. It's a grounder up the middle. Belanger dives to his left, has it, throws him out. What a play by Belanger. That scored, or that saved a run. His second great play of the game. They're calling it a web gem, even though web gems did not exist in 1971. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 5th. It's an official game here in Baltimore. The Orioles lead the White Sox 4-1. Dave Johnson leads off for Baltimore. He's 0 for 2 today. He was safe on a costly error in the first. And he grounded to third in the third inning. The 0-2 pitch. It's a shallow fly ball into left field. Rick Reichert coming in. He's got it. 1 out. Here is Boog Powell. This is his first game of the series. He's 2 for 2. He singled in the first. And he singled in the third. Yesterday, Chico Simone played for him. And Simone playing first base went 3 for 4 with a home run and 2 runs batted in. So the first base position for the Orioles has been very productive in this series so far. The 1-0 pitch. Hits a little blooper to second. And McKinney is right there. 2 outs. And here's Brooks Robinson. He's 0 for 2 today. He grounded it into a double play in the first. Frank Robinson scored. And then he grounded the first in the third. The 1-2 pitch. He looked at strike 3. He got fooled on that changeup. And he knew it. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left. We've played 5 here in Baltimore. The Orioles lead the White Sox 4-1. That was the first strikeout of the game for Tom Bradley. Rich McKinney leads off for Chicago in the 6th. He's 1 for 2 today. He popped out to Mark Belanger in the first, and he singled in the third, and that scored Pat Kelly. McKinney had a productive season this year. He hit .279 with 13 home runs, 63 runs batted in. He shared the second base duties with Mike Andrews, but Mike Andrews broke his hand at the beginning of September. So he is out for the season. And McKinney lost some time both to injuries and military duty. The 1-2 pitch. Grounder up the middle. Johnson dives to his right, has it from his knees. Throw was high, but Powell leaped and got it. 1 out. What a play by Johnson. Boy, the Belanger and Johnson are just putting on a clinic today. And Boog Powell as well. Here is Bill Melton, who's 0 for 2. He flied the deep right field. He put Frank Robinson up against the wall, and he popped to the third baseman in the third. Hits a fly ball in the left field. Buford near the track. He's got it. That's 2 outs. Here's Rick Reichert. He's 1 for 1. He singled in the second, and he walked in the fourth. Reichert is 3 for 4 in this series. The 1-0 pitch. He hits a fly ball in the center field. Blair backpedaling, has it. 3 outs. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It is Baltimore 4, Chicago 1. Mark Belanger leads off for Baltimore. He's 0 for 2 today. He flied down the right field line in the first, and he grounded to Rich McKinney in the third. The 0-1 pitch. Grounder to short. Alvarado charges, but he bobbles it. Oh, that's his second error of the game. So no one out. Runner on first. Here's Elrod Hendricks, who's 0 for 1. He walked in the second, and he grounded to McKinney in the fourth. Inside, ball 1. Just missed outside, ball 2. Too low, ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. High and in, ball 4. He was taken all the way. Third walk given up by Bradley. We have runners at first and second. Nobody out, and here's Paul Blair, who's 1 for 2. He singled in the second, and he grounded to Melton in the fourth. Outside, ball 1. Too low, ball 2. Inside, ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. Changeup right at the knee, strike 1. Blair hits a grounder to short. To second for 1, to throw to first. Not in time. So the Orioles have 1 out. Runners on the corners. Here is Pat Dobson, the pitcher. He had a sacrifice bunt in the second. And he had an infield single. Melton made a nice play, charged in the ball, but he elected to hold on to it rather than risk an error in the fourth. That was with 2 outs, and that play came back to haunt Chicago. Dobson lays down a bunt. Carlos May has it. He looked Belanger back to third. And threw to McKinney covering first. 2 outs. Paul Blair moves to second. Here's Don Buford, who's 2 for 2 today. He singled in the first. He walked in the second. And then with 2 outs in the fourth, after Dobson's infield hit, he had a 2-run home run. And they are going to intentionally walk him. So bases loaded, 2 outs. That brings up Frank Robinson, who's 1 for 3 today. He singled in the first. Hit into a double play in the second. And flied out to Johnstone in the fourth. Herman goes out to confer with Bradley. Fastball just below the belt, strike one. Low, ball two. Or ball one, rather. I'm sorry. Low, ball two. In off the plate, ball three. 3 balls, 1 strike. Swing and a miss, strike two. So we have bases loaded, 2 outs, full count. Fouls it back. We're in the bottom of the 6th. The Orioles lead by 3. Ball 4. That'll force in Belanger. It's 5-1. Chicago, that's the 5th walk given up by Bradley. He had a lot of difficulty with his control today, and here comes Chuck Tanner, and that is all for Bradley. Coming in to pitch is Don Eddy. Don Eddy in the regular season appeared in 22 games. He had a record of 0-2 with an ERA of 4.09. Against Baltimore, he was 0-1 with a 9.0 ERA. Here's Dave Johnson, who is 0 for 3 today. He was safe on an error in the first. That was a costly error for Chicago. Grounded to Bill Melton in the third, and he flied to Rick Reichert in the 5th. First pitch from Don Eddy. Fly ball down the left field line, but that makes the seats. Right down the middle, strike 2, the curveball. That was off the corner, ball 1. Johnson wasn't chasing. Johnson hits a grounder to second. McKinney's up with it to throw to first. 3 outs, but Baltimore gets 1 run, no hits, 1 error. They left the bases loaded. We have played 6 here in Baltimore. The Orioles lead 5-1. Close out the books on Tom Bradley. He pitched 5 2/3 innings. He gave up 7 hits. He gave up 5 runs, but only 2 of those were earned. Those were the 2 in the 4th inning on Buford's 2-run homer. He walked 5. He only struck out 1. He was having some difficulty with his control today. Today may have been his least effective start of the season. In the 7th inning for Chicago, they have 4 runs to make up. It will be Jay Johnstone, Ed Herman, and Luis Alvarado. Jay Johnstone is 1 for 1 today. He singled in the second, and he had a sacrifice bunt in the 4th. The 0-1 pitch. Fly ball into center field. Paul Blair's going back. That's gone. Home run. Jay Johnstone with his first home run of the postseason. He had 1 home run against the Orioles in the regular season. and he had 14 home runs overall. So that makes it 5-2. Here's Ed Herman, who's over 2. He popped to Dave Johnson in the second inning, and he lined out to center in the fourth. The 1-0 pitch. Bouncer to short. Fielded by Belanger. Says he has all day. He throws him out. 1 out. Here is Luis Alvarado. He's had a difficult day today. He made 2 errors. And those 2 errors led to 3 unearned runs. But he's 1 for 2. He singled, or he grounded to Belanger in the second, and he singled in the fifth. The 0-2 pitch. Grounder to short. Belanger's up with it. Throws him out. Pinch hitting for Don Eddy is Rich Morales. Morales was 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter yesterday. The 1-1 pitch. Grounder between Robinson and Belanger. Robinson dives to his right. Throws him out. Oh, another great play by the Baltimore infield. One run, 1 hit. No errors, no one left. We go to the bottom of the 7th. It is Baltimore 5, Chicago 2. Coming in to pitch for Chicago is Joe Horland. Joe Horland, he won the Cy Young Award back in 1967. He is 34 years old. He's been around a while. This season, he got into 29 games. 24 of those were starts. He had a record of 8-12 with 1 save, an ERA of 4.11. Against the Orioles, he was 0-2 with an ERA of 7.07. Boog Powell leads off for Chicago in the 7th. He's 2 for 3 today. He singled in the first. That scored Don Buford with the first run of the game. He singled in the third, and he lined to Rich McKinney in the 5th. The 0-2 pitch from Horland. Hits a fly ball in the right field. Pat Kelly drifting back. He's got it. 1 out. Here's Brooks Robinson. He's 0 for 3 today. Grounded into a double play in the first. That scored Frank Robinson. He grounded to Lee May in the third, and he struck out in the 5th. The 1-1 pitch. Fly ball in the left field. Reichert going back near the track, and he's got it. 2 outs. Here's Mark Belanger. He's 0 for 3. Hit a shallow fly out to Pat Kelly in the first. He grounded to third, or grounded to McKinney in the third, and he was safe on a costly error in the 6th. The 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. First strikeout given up by Horland. Nothing across for Baltimore in the bottom of the 7th. We played 7 in Baltimore, Game 2 of the 1971 American League Championship Series here on WJST. Parma, Norwich, Tuscaloosa, and Utah. Yeah, Joe Hortl, his career goes back to 1961 when he was a late call-up with the White Sox. And he's been a regular member of their mound rotation since 1962. And I have to take a short pause for a minute to get some Rocket Fuel malt liquor. I'll be right back. All right, it's the top of the 8th here in Baltimore. Chicago is down by 3. They got to get something going. They do not want to go back to Comiskey Park. Down no wins to 2 in a short 5-game series. It'll be the top of the order for the White Sox. Carlos May, Pat Kelly, and Rich McKinney. Carlos May is 0 for 3 today. The 3-0 pitch. Ball 4. Here's Pat Kelly. He's 1 for 3. He doubled back in the 3rd. Throw to first. May's back. Got the inside corner. Strike 1. Liner down the first base line, but that's foul. Strike 3 called. He was fooled on the changeup. 1 out. Here is Rich McKinney, who's 1 for 3. He singled in the 3rd. That scored Pat Kelly. That one missed. Ball 1. McKinney hits one up the middle. Johnson has it. Steps on second for 1. And May took him out. Johnson couldn't make the throw to first. So there's 2 outs. Runner on first, and here's Bill Melton, who's 0 for 3 today. Rick Reichert's on deck. Swing and a miss, strike 1. The 0-1 pitch, high and outside, ball 1. That was above the zone, ball 2. Fouls it back, it's out of play. Too high, ball 3, full count, 2 outs. Hits a fly ball in the left field. Don Buford is there, and he's got it. 3 outs. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It is Baltimore 5, Chicago 2. For the Orioles in the 8th, it will be Hendricks, Blair, and Dobson. Hendricks is 0 for 1 today. He walked in the 2nd, he grounded out to McKinney in the 4th, and he walked in the 6th. The 0-2 pitch. Hendricks hits a base hit into center field. Here's Rangers, Paul Blair, he's 1 for 3. He singled in the second. He grounded to Melton in the fourth, and he grounded into a force play in the sixth. Just below the belt, strike one. Low, ball one. Swing and a miss, strike two. Ooh, a little bit of chin music, ball two. It's a grounder to third. This could be two. To second for one. To first. Double play. 5-4-3 double play. Here is Pat Dobson. He's 1 for 1. He had a sacrifice bunt in the second. He had an infield single in the fourth. That infield single ended up becoming costly for the White Sox. And he had a sacrifice bunt in the sixth. The 0-2 pitch. Grounder to first. May is up with it. He tosses to Horland covering. 3 outs. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, no one left. We've played 8 at Memorial Stadium. It is Baltimore 5, Chicago 2. Chicago comes into the 9th inning. They're down by 3. Baltimore is 3 outs away from taking a commanding 2-0 lead in this 5-game series. It'll be Rick Reichert, Jay Johnstone, and Ed Herman for the White Sox. Reichert is 1 for 2. He singled in the second. He walked in the fourth. And he flied out in the sixth. The 2-1 pitch. Grounder to, or hit a liner to second. And Johnson makes the catch. I feel like John Sterling making all these mistakes. I remember listening when I had XM radio, and I would listen to baseball games in the car when I was working. And Sterling was forever like saying something, check it. Made a mistake, check it, check it, check it. Sometimes I feel like maybe I should just start saying check it. Here is Jay Johnstone. He's 2 for 2. He singled in the second. He had a sacrifice bunt in the fourth. And he had a solo home run in the seventh. He is 3 for 6 in the series. The 3-1 pitch. Ball 4. Here's Ed Herman. He's 0 for 3 today. Caught the inside corner. Strike one. Oh, he hit it, got hit in the leg. He takes first without even a look at the pitcher because he knows that there was no way Dobson wanted to hit him in this situation. So that White Sox have runners on first and second, 1 out. Here's Luis Alvarado. He's 1 for 3. He singled back in the fifth. He represents the tying run. Joe Horland's on deck, but I'm sure there'll be a pinch hitter for him. That was low, ball 1. Alvarado hits a base hit into right field. Johnstone scores. Alvarado Revs it up. Slides into second with a double. He went into high gear when he was rounding first. That makes it 5-3. And the White Sox have 2 men in scoring position. Herman on third, Alvarado on second. One out. And Lee, B.B. Richard will pinch hit. He's a rookie. He got into 91 games with the White Sox this year. He had 231. He had 4 home runs, 24 runs batted in. He had 10 stolen bases. He was 0 for 9 this year against Baltimore. He represents the go-ahead run. He looked at strike one on a curveball. Too high, ball one. Richard hits a base hit into left field. Herman scores. Alvarado stops at third. It's 5-4 Baltimore. Carlos May comes up. He is 0 for 3 today. They're drawing the infield in. Alvarado's on third, representing the tying run. Richards on first, representing the go-ahead run. There's one out. As the White Sox rally, ball one. That was low. May hits base hit up the middle. Alvarado scores. Richards on second. He takes third. It's a tie game. Here's Pat Kelly. He's 1 for 4 today. He doubled back in the third. They draw the infield in again. Hendricks goes out to talk to Dobson. Hits a grounder down the first base line. That's foul. Looking ahead to the Orioles in the bottom of the ninth, it will be Buford, Robinson, and Johnson, the top of their order. Strike two called. Grounder down the first base line. That one's foul. Outside, ball one. Grounder to third. Robinson boots it. Brooks Robinson couldn't make the play. Richard scores, and the White Sox go ahead 6-5. Still one out. Here is Rich McKinney, who's 1 for 4. He singled in the third. That scored Pat Kelly with Chicago's first run. Fouls it back. Strike one. That was away. Ball one. Fouls it back. Strike two. Strike three. There goes May. He steals third. So credit McKinney with a strikeout and May with a stolen base. Here's Bill Melton, who's 0 for 4 today. Hits a grounder to third. Robinson's up with it. Throw to first. 3 outs, but it's a big inning for Chicago. They got 4 runs on 3 hits, 1 error. They left 2 men on base. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Chicago has taken a 6-5 lead on that rally. Coming in to pitch for Chicago is Bart Johnson. Bart Johnson appeared in 53 games. He had 11 starts. He had a record of 5-8 with a 2.51 ERA and 19 saves. Against the Orioles, he had no wins, no losses, 2 saves, and an ERA of 1.08. He is looking for the save today. Don Buford leads off the ninth for Baltimore. He's 2 for 2. He singled in the first. He walked in the second. Hit a 2-run homer in the fourth, and he was intentionally walked in the sixth. The 2-0 pitch. Fastball, grounder to third. Melton has it. Throw to first. 1 out. Here's Frank Robinson. He's 1 for 3. Singled in the first. Grounded into a double play in the second. Fly to center in the fourth. And he walked in the sixth. And that scored Mark Belanger. The 3-0 pitch. Ball 4. Coming in to run for Frank Robinson will be Merv Rettenman. Dave Johnson's up. He is 0 for 4 today. They're playing him on the lines. The infield guarding against a double. And the outfield playing deep. Ball 1. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Too high, ball 2. Outside, ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. Caught the inside corner, strike 2, full count. Strike 3 called. Two outs. The White Sox are 1 out away from a dramatic come-from-behind victory. And here's Boog Powell, who's 2 for 4. He singled in the first. That scored Don Buford. He singled in the third. He lined out to Rich McKinney in the 5th. And he flied out to Pat Kelly in the 7th. Orioles are down to their last out. Ball 1. Low and away, ball 2. In there at the knees, strike 1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. High and outside, ball 3. Full count. Ball 4. Second walk given up by Johnson. And they will send Tom Chopay in to run for Boog Powell. Here's Brooks Robinson. He's 0 for 4 today. Runners on first and second. 2 outs. Rettenman represents the tying run. Chopay represents the winning run. Up and in, ball 2. Ball 3. Caught the outside corner, strike 1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Full count, 2 outs, runners on first and second. Orioles down by 1. Swing and a miss, strike 3, the game's over. Baltimore put 2 men on base in the 9th inning, but they couldn't score anybody. Final score, Chicago with a dramatic come-from-behind win, 6. Baltimore 5. Chicago had 6 runs, 9 hits, 2 errors. Baltimore 1 run, 1 or Baltimore 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. I am red with embarrassment here. Joe Harlan gets the win. He is 1-0 in this series. Pat Dobson pitched a complete game, but he takes the loss. Bart Johnson gets a save. Chicago left 7 men on base. Baltimore left 9 men on base, including 2 in the 9th. Star of the game is Jay Johnstone. He was 2 for 2 with a home run. Luis Alvarado, he made 2 big errors that led to 3 unearned runs for Baltimore, but he went 2 for 4 with a double. Boog Powell went 2 for 4 for Baltimore with a stolen base, while Don Buford went 2 for 3 with a home run and 2 runs batted in. Time of this game was 3 hours and 8 minutes. Baltimore got on the board first. In the first inning, Buford led off with a single. Robinson singled. Then Johnson was safe on an error by Alvarado that loaded the bases. Powell singled that scored Don Buford. And then Brooks Robinson grounded into a double play, and Frank Robinson was able to score on that. That made it 2-0. And then in the third inning, with 2 outs, Pat Kelly doubled, and he scored on Rich McKinney's single. That made it 2-1 Baltimore. And then in the fourth, with 2 outs, Pat Dobson singled on the infield, and Don Buford followed that with a 2-run homer. That made it 4-1. And then in the sixth, Belanger led off. He was safe on an Alvarado's second error of the game. Hendricks walked. Blair grounded into a force play. That put runners at first and third. Dobson had a sacrifice bunt. Belanger wasn't able to score on that. That put runners at second and third. Buford was intentionally walked. And then Frank Robinson walked. That forced in Belanger, making it 5-1 Baltimore. And that was it for Tom Bradley. In the seventh inning, Jay Johnstone led off for Chicago with a home run. That made it 5-2 Baltimore, and that turned out to be a pretty crucial run. Because going into the ninth inning, Baltimore leads 5-2. Now with 1 out, Jay Johnstone walked. Ed Herman was hit by a pitch. Then Alvarado made up for his defensive lapses, hitting a double. That scored Jay Johnstone. That made it 5-3 Baltimore. Lee Richard pinch hit for Eddie, the pitcher. He singled. That scored Herman. That made it 5-4 Baltimore. Then Carlos May got his first hit of the game with a single, and that tied the game. And then with the infield drawn in, Pat Kelly grounded to third, and he was safe on an error by Brooks Robinson. And that put Chicago up 6-5. And then in the ninth inning, with one out, Frank Robinson walked. Rettenman pitch ran for him. This is after Bart Johnson took over for the White Sox on the mound. Dave Johnson struck out, so there were two outs, runner on first. Boog Powell walked. Tom Chopay pinch ran for him, so with two outs, runners on first and second, Brooks Robinson ended the game striking out. And so the White Sox snatched victory from the jaws of defeat with a ninth inning rally to beat Baltimore 6-5. So they go back to Chicago now, tied at one game apiece. White Sox will be much more comfortable going to Comiskey Park with a tie. So, like the National League Championship Series yesterday with Pittsburgh's win, the ALCS now turns into a best 2 out of 3. And I will probably get to Game 3 this weekend. I'm recording this on Thursday. On my APC calendar, the Orioles and the White Sox will be leaving Memorial Stadium right after this game to go to Chicago because the rain out on Saturday washed out their travel day. Today was originally scheduled to be the travel day for the two teams. But once again, the final score, Game 2. Or let me check one more thing before I leave. It will most likely be Tommy John versus Jim Palmer in Game 3 tomorrow. And once again, the final score in a dramatic ninth inning rally. The White Sox win the game 6-5. Hope you enjoyed this great game. I know I did. Thank you for watching.